Hello everyone, it's Matt from Akuma Mods back again today with our review of the Mingda D3 Pro. My apologies for my camera angle. I can't really get a good shot of this thing because it's so big. It's ridiculous. So, with that being said, hopefully you guys can see the majority of the printer. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first off, building this printer is pretty straightforward. The instructions are they're so-so. There's some things that was left out or just kind of not understood, at least in my sense. Maybe because I don't know what I'm really doing, but hey, I tried my best. I got it together, so that's at least good. Some things to point out here. This is a direct drive system, as you can see. It does have a filament runout sensor. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's on the top bar there. It has a magnetic flappy plate, which I don't like. Not kinda, I don't like them. I prefer a flex plate or a glass plate, something that's a little bit more stable than these things, because the problem with these is usually when they put them on printers, they're low quality. And it's not the fact that it's low quality, I should say. It's more or less, it's a standard. So the ones that they have on the bed are only usually good to about 60 C for consistent heating. And then anything above that, they kind of start warping and demagnetizing and things like that. So I'm not a big fan of them. I like flex plates a little bit more with like PEI or textured PEI. So that's just my personal preference. I'll let you guys decide on that. I know, there's several printers out there that have these type of flappy mats that are that work okay. So I mean, if you're using PLA only, which that's pretty much all I use, you're perfectly fine. You don't have to worry about it. It's when you start getting into like PETG, that's when you have to just keep an eye on it and see what's going on. Usually when I do these videos, they're kind of, printing, so I can show them off. But unfortunately, this thing's so big and my desk is so small because I like compactness. I can't really do that. So we're just going to have to take my word for it. And actually, you know what, let's go and grab this. So we did do some prints with it. Usually I've been printing with PPE stuff, so like ear savers and some face masks and things like that. Not face masks, but like protectors on the inside of the face mask. I don't ever suggest printing face masks. So the first print that I really did that was a big one was for my son. It's for his Oculus. And first layer went down perfect. The filament printed just fine. Obviously there's some wiggling here and there because where I had it set up was on a kind of flimsy table, but for the most part it printed perfectly fine. I don't really have too many issues with it, just some minor cleanup for some filing and sanding and things like that, but for the most part it printed it perfectly fine and stable and not over extruding or under extruding. It went down perfectly fine. So yeah, let's get into talking about some of the pros of this printer. So right now you have a direct drive setup. You have a 3D touch, or maybe it's BL touch. I forget which one it is, but they do have a auto bed leveling system on it. It has dual lead screws, so a screw here, so that's awesome for perfect stability, because when you start getting with bigger printers, you have the sagging gantry. Even the Enders and the smaller model printers suffer from the saggy gantry issue. That's why I always suggest getting a box style printer if you can, because they don't suffer from that. But you can always remedy it with a secondary lead screw, which again, this one has. The setup of this cable tie or cable wire management is kind of wonky to me. I did see another review where this was more of a solid piece and it was kind of draped up and over. So I'm not sure why they went with more flexible style cable. I had to actually like tie it to the filament so it wouldn't drip over the front here. So maybe, you know, printing a cable chain or getting some sort of cable tie, or the good old badge section where you can just have the badge holder hanging it up. That's perfectly fine. You can rig it however you want. I just have it rigged up for this right now. It's not the end of the world. It works. So, let's see, what else? Filament runout sensor, magnetic bed, and then on top of all of it, it has TMC 2208 drivers in it. So this thing is insanely quiet. Even with the fans going, like I could barely even hear it printing. That's how quiet it was. So it was a very, very nice system. I really, really like it. And, you know, if you're doing comparative printers, the closest one that's a big brand name compared to this would be the Creality CR10. And actually the CR10S would be closer to this. But again, the difference is you have a direct drive, so that means you can print flexible materials a lot easier over a Bowden setup, or Bowden, however you want to call it, set up on a CR10. So that right there automatically sets it a little bit higher. And then on top of it, the auto bed leveling system that it has makes it a little bit better bang for your buck. Plus on top of it, currently, as I'm looking at it right now, the pricing on the Mingda D3 is $399 as of shooting this video, and the closest competitor to it, which would be the Creality CR10S, is $420. So I mean, it's pretty close in terms of what price range. But the thing is this is an all-in-one package. Like, all of your stuff is underneath here, whereas the CR10 has a separate box. I know some people like that type of preference. You know, they like to have everything separate. It's good for an enclosure, but I mean, you can put this thing in an enclosure just fine and not have too many issues with it. As long as you move the power supply outside of it, you should be all right. In terms of bed size, or build size, I should say, actually, this is going to be a little bit bigger than a CR10S. So this one's actually coming in at 320 by 320 by 400, whereas the CR10 is just 20 millimeters short on that. It's 300, 300, and 400. So you do get a little bit larger build size, and you know, I think that makes a lot of a difference to a lot of people. So especially when you're making masks and things like that, stuff that fits over your dome piece. You know, that might be something to take into consideration. That, you know, it does have that 20 extra millimeter in the X and the Y. So you know, that's really, really nice to have that extra wiggle room there. So for the most part, I've been printing with it for about a week on and off, and you know, it's been printing just fine. As I said, I printed off this stuff. I printed off some cable ties in different colors. So what these are is you just wrap your cords around them, cable management, I guess you could call them. And then obviously some ear savers and things like that. So nothing super tall or anything, at least not yet. I'm still trying to find a good file that I want to try and print. But we're going to print for a little bit more on this thing, and then put out some more pictures and videos and things like that. But for the most part, it's been fairly good. I did have a little bit of an issue at the beginning. If you guys have seen my unboxing video, basically I got all the machine set up and ready to go. So there was the stabilizers that were not in the manual. So we put those on to stabilize the Z gantry, or the upright, however you want to call it. So that's nice that it has that to stabilize it. Unfortunately, it's only on the front side, but that's fine because the stepper motors kind of even it out on the back side. So it's a pretty stable machine. The touchscreen is very, very nice and very user-friendly. Most of the touchscreens that I've found to use, which most of them have been Creality that I've used for touchscreens, and they're not nearly as touch sensitive as this. If that makes any sense. What I mean is, the Creality ones tend to be a little bit slow. So like you tap it and it's like a half a second behind your tap. Whereas this is instant. Now, when I was printing with this, the LCD screen did go blank. I personally think that that's a grounding issue, and that's probably due to the plug that I had it switched into, which is a really, not meant for heavy duty printing and things like that. It's just meant for, some small phone charging and things like that. I don't think there's a proper ground in that setup there. So I think that was it. But Mingda sent me out a firmware update, which was very, very simple. You just load the information on your SD card, turn on the printer, and it automatically updates everything for you. It took about, I'd say 3 minutes to update the firmware. And I didn't have that problem ever again. But then again, I did end up switching the printer to a different location. So I couldn't really see if it was a firmware issue or an actual grounding issue. Usually when something happens with the LCD screens, it's a grounding issue in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know. I could be wrong about that. It could just been a small glitch in the firmware or for the printer, but that's to be seen. As you guys can see, the bed has seen some better days, and that goes back to me unboxing it and trying to get it properly leveled. Unfortunately, one of the things that Mingda did not provide in their instructions on the SD card is how to properly level this. So there is a certain way that you have to level it. You basically manually level it like you would a normal bed, and the auto bed leveling takes care of the rest of that. I'm used to a proximity probe, which, I prefer a little bit better than like a BL Touch or a 3D Touch style model, because there's no moving parts or anything, and it'll actually probe out your bed and find out, and it'll correct for the deviation while it prints. I'm sure we can get that to do that on this one, but I don't know too much about BL Touch. I've only had one for a little bit besides this model, so there's some tweaking and things that I gotta look into. Again, that's still kind of a new thing to me, and especially how this is all set up, where it's all digital and everything. I'm used to it. Just you have the firmware, you set it, and you can baby step it. With that being said, there is a baby step option, but again, with it, if you have this side leveled and this side not leveled, baby step is only going to work a little bit, and then you're going to come back over here and you're going to be squished too much. So you really have to make sure what's going on with that. So I'm probably going to get a flex plate upgrade for this, and then we can start printing again. And so other than that, the printer's been printing just great. I've had very little issues besides the leveling, which again, that's all on me. It's user error. And that's why it's super squished here, and I left that on there because it's super squished. But again, everything is printed perfectly fine off of this. I didn't really have any issues besides trying to take it off the bed. But again, all I had to do was just remove this magnetic plate and flex it a little bit, and it peeled right off, no problem. So it is a really, really nice printer. And again, if you're looking for a larger size printer, this is actually a really, really good bang for your buck. Like I said, it's got direct drive, it's got an auto bed leveling system, it's got dual lead Z screws, it's got a filament runout sensor. So it checks all my boxes for what I need. If you guys don't have a printer that has a filament runout sensor, I highly suggest getting one, because that is a lifesaver, especially if you're printing with lots of different spools. Like I have about 4 or 5 different spools here that have, different stages of filament. And case in point here, we had the stock filament that they provided with us for test printing and things like that. Obviously, these cubes are super stress cubes. What are these called? They're called fractal cubes, or fractal pyramid, actually. And so I ended up obviously running out, as you can see. So they gave us like a teal color to start with, and it wasn't much. I mean, you're not going to get much printing out of it. So I did I did a print, and sure enough, it stopped in the middle of the day. I happened to come home about 5 hours later, and the machine was just sitting here. Everything was cooled off, and I was waiting for a filament change. So all I had to do was run that through, take it out of the hot end, and then run some new filament in there, and that's when we switched out to the gold filament. So that came out really, really cool. It's got some, some interesting looking pyramids type stuff. So definitely was not intentional, but it came out really, really cool like that. I really like these. These pyramids are really, really awesome. If you want to actually test out how good your printer can print, these are very, very good because they stress out the printer as much as they can, because it's every little single dot here and there. And so that's a really, really good way to tell how good your printer actually can handle things at fast speeds and things like that. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you got any questions, comments, concerns about the printer, go ahead and comment below. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And obviously, if you like these videos and want to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Every little bit helps. And until next time, guys, happy printing.